listening to the Third Coast Gridiron on the LSG Network with your host, Marc Henry.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. We're talking playoff football in the state of Texas, definitely in the H. Let's talk about it, man. We're going to talk about a few games from the first week of the playoffs and look at a couple of big matchups here in the H. This is Marc Henry on TCG, the Third Coast Gridiron, on the LSG Network, the authority for high school football in the state of Texas. Love this time of year. Love it, love it, love it. I can't wait for the area round. We'll talk about that and more, but we'll start with games in the bi-district round here in the H, man. We'll take a small break and come back and talk games from week one of the playoffs here on TCG, the Third Coast Gridiron.
With open enrollment for Medicare, ACA, Obamacare, and small group plans for businesses with less than 100 employees, if you're in need of health insurance solutions, look no further than HAP Insurance Agency. Yes, HAP Insurance Agency is a fantastic resource right in the heart of College Station, Texas. Whether you're in retirement, a business owner, or simply looking for the best health coverage option, HAP Insurance Agency has got you covered. You can find them in College Station at 1551 Greens Prairie Road West, Suite 101A, or give Holly Pritchard a call at 972-897-0814. That's HAP Insurance Agency. Do you have a party coming up or just want a special gift? Check out Nani's Sweeter Side. Yes, Nani's Sweeter Side makes the most amazing custom-created sugar cookies with your design. They also offer paint your own cookies and decorate your own cookies. Those make an excellent sweet activity that you can sink your teeth into at parties. Nani's also offers some of the most amazing cupcakes ever. You can check out Nani's Sweeter Side at nanisweeterside.com. That's N-A-N-I. Check her out on Facebook. Just look for Nani's Sweeter Side. Or give her a call at 937-499-4790. At Nani's Sweeter Side, you'll find that happiness is homemade.
Well, the playoffs got kicked off Thursday night in the H. Cy-Fair gets a big win over Bel Air, 55-10. Bobcats had no trouble getting past Bel Air. Trey Owens was phenomenal. Helped them build a 55-7 win at halftime. They move on to the second round. North Shore, 42-14 over Deer Park. Listen, the big red machine, that is the Mustangs, took care of business. But Deer Park, they stuck around and they hung around for a little bit. But listen, this is North Shore. This is what they do. This time of the year is when they start to ramp up things, 42-14 over Deer Park. Waltrip goes down to Fulshire, 59-19. Silsbee over Sealy in a very competitive game, 35-22. They stayed undefeated. It was 7-7 at halftime, but they pulled away and advanced to the second round. Jasper over Columbia, 35-12. Listen, the Bulldogs are a very, very good team. They are loaded, man. The team you need to watch coming out of the 4A ranks. It's lots of skill over there. Shout out to Jasper for getting the dub. Smaller schools, 3A action on Thursday. Little River Academy beats Hitchcock 42-36. This is a stunning upset. The Bulldogs, they played these guys in 2022 and they got beat. But this year, listen, Lloyd Jones III was phenomenal. Damian McDaniel was phenomenal as well. A couple of touchdowns early. They also scored on the ground. Led 36-27 going in the fourth quarter, and they get the dub, man. Shout out to Little River Academy. That's a big one. Hitchcock is a very talented team, man. We'll move on to a few scores on Friday. Klein Collins gets the big victory over Cypress Ranch, 55-20. Klein Collins is a big-time team. We'll talk about their matchup coming up in the second round, which I think is very significant. They hadn't advanced out of the second round. This is a team that usually plays very, very well. Of course, Tucker Parks is one of the best quarterbacks in the state of Texas, headed to Western Kentucky. He's one of the playmakers as well. But we'll talk about Klein Collins more here in the matchup they have in the second round. Big victory in the first round. Westfield over Conroe, 58-20. Katy over Travis 49-6. Clear Springs over Shadow Creek 36-7. This was a big upset. Shadow Creek came in very, very highly ranked in the state of Texas, and Clear Springs just shut them down. This is a big victory, and they're going to move on, and we'll talk about their opponent here in the next round. They're going to have their hands full of a big victory in the first round. Lamar, listen, the Texans are one of the hottest teams in the state. Forget just Houston. I think in the state, they have a chance to make a big run here. They're in a very, very difficult bracket, but this team is loaded, and they get a big victory over Jersey Village 63-0. Atascocita over Delby 66-28. Don't sleep on these guys. I know they lost a couple of big games. They lost a big one to Summer Creek in the regular season finale. But listen, this team is one of the teams that can get hot and go a long way handling business. Shout out to my guy Zion Brown over there, who's the leader on that offense. Jelani Watkins is a player over there as well as Corday Mack. And then you have a very stout offensive line over there that gets the job done. They know how to play some ball over there. They'll get it done. They got Braylon Conley at corner over there, USC commit. Blaylock as well. Playmakers galore. They'll get it right. Coach Stump and those guys have been doing it for a long time. Willis 62-34 over Nimitz. Nimitz was a great team and came in and put up some points. But I just think that Willis is very focused. We've been talking about Willis most of the year. Like I said, I've had a chance to speak with some of these guys during the spring and the summer, and heading into the fall. They got some guys that can go. I think this is a team that can make some noise. They get by Nimitz 62-34 to advance. Tomball Memorial 30-29 over Cypress Springs in a big victory with a field goal to win it with 18 seconds left. Cypress Springs, they tried to go for it, but listen, Tomball Memorial is a team that's sneaky in that Division II bracket in 6A that can actually get it done. Don't sleep on these guys. Big victory, tough one to go down, swinging like that for Cypress Springs with the field goal attempt late, but they couldn't get it done. And Tomball Memorial advances. Tomball 32-6 over Cypress Falls. Clear Creek 27-14 over Dawson. Hightower advances with a big victory over Katy Jordan, making their first appearance. But Hightower's a team that's been there and done that. 35-7 over Jordan C. King advances 70-21 over Channelview. Clear Falls over Strake Jesuit 45-10. Angleton in 2 overtimes gets past Galveston Ball, who again was one of those top teams that we talked about most of the year. And they get to the first round and lose a tough one. Angleton gets the victory in overtime, 40-34. Magnolia West shuts down Madison, 68-0. Magnolia over Sterling, 56-6. Lake Creek over Needland, 53-6. Longview from East Texas over Porter, 59-7. Now, Longview's a strong team. I know they're not in the Houston area, but they have one of the best running backs in the country, and Taylor Tatum, who I've had the chance to see earlier in the year in a big game up in North Texas. So, these guys are definitely a team. I know Porter had a great season, but that's a well-oiled machine that's, perennially in the playoffs and a state-ranked team most of the year. Needling gets past Yates, 49-14. Shout out to Jack Yates, man. Listen, Coach Thomas and those guys are doing a heck of a job over there. They got one of the best players in the H in Jaquan Brandon. If you don't know who he is, look him up. He's one of the most exciting players that you'll see. Had a chance to see him in the district championship game against Worthing late in the year, and he put on a show. He's definitely a guy that should be on college coaches' radars in the H, man. One of the top playmakers that you'll see. Campo takes down Worthing 42-14. Belleville over West Orange Stark 49-7. Columbus takes down Rockdale 56-8. Let's talk about the round 2 matchups, which I think are intriguing. We're starting to get into the thick of this thing. If you're playing after Thanksgiving is when you're doing big things. We're on the cusp of that now with the area round. We'll take a break, come back, and we'll talk about some of the big matchups coming in round 2 of the playoffs. Here in the H, this is Marc Henry here on TCG, the Third Coast Gridiron.
Hey, did you know volleyball is the fastest growing sport in the country? Yes, volleyball is exploding. And so is our coverage of volleyball. Starting in a couple weeks, the High School Volleyball Coaches Show will launch. It's going to be by myself and Mick Haley. Mick Haley, if you know volleyball, you know him. He's won national championships coaching UT volleyball, won national championships coaching USC volleyball. He coached Olympic volleyball. You name it, he has done it all. And what we're going to do, we're going to talk to the top high school volleyball coaches in the country, not just Texas, the entire country, and it's going to be great. The High School Volleyball Coaches Show coming to you very soon.
Looking to boost your company's marketing? Look no further than Fresh MediaWorks. Podcasting is the best way to promote your brand and increase your customer base. You can create your own show, be a guest on other podcasts, or advertise on existing podcasts to reach a valuable audience. Don't wait. Start elevating your marketing game today with Fresh MediaWorks. Call now. 713-269-4620 or find us online at freshmediaworks.com/podcasting.
Let's talk second round matchups. Starting in 6A, D1 Region 2, the Woodlands takes on Klein Collins in a big game over at Wood Forest Bank Stadium. Of course, we know that Major Matar, their four-star quarterback, was injured a couple of weeks ago. Patrick Miller's filled in admirably in the last couple of weeks and played well against Spring in the first round. Of course, Cornell Farrakhan Jr., who was on the show a couple of weeks ago, is that big guy on offense, a big-time playmaker. Klein Collins, offensively, one of the best in the area with Tucker Parks, senior quarterback, headed to Western Kentucky. This will be an offensive show. These are two teams that can put some points on the board. Definitely a game you want to keep your eye on. Westfield, Klein Kane, a matchup of two teams that like to run the football. Klein Kane got past Bridgeland 50-49 in overtime to advance. Of course, Westfield's got one of the best running backs in the state who gets it done in Taj Atkins. He's a great guy in the open field, and he can go the distance. 9-2, Westfield comes in, and Klein Kane at 8-3. Cy-Fair and Katy, big-time matchup. Of course, you got the Texas commit, Trey Owens, and going against the Big Red Machine and Katy, 10-1. One of the better games in the state that you probably want to pull up at if you can. This is a game you don't want to miss. North Shore and Clear Springs. Clear Springs, big victory in the first round. Takes on North Shore. Right now probably, depends on who you talk to, number one ranked team in the state. This region is loaded. We'll talk about Cy-Fair, we'll talk about Katy, North Shore, and then you have Lamar Ridge Point. Two teams that can definitely go as far as these teams want to go. They can make it to state. They got to come out of this area, out of this round, and they face North Shore, possibly, if they can get past Ridge Point. I think that's a big-time game, with Ridge Point. Lamar, it's got Jordan Reeves, one of the best all-around players, best quarterbacks that you're going to find. He can get it done. This is a big game as well. Ridge Point, I believe that they can get it done as well. So if these three games, definitely three games in Region 3 that you might want to check out if you can pull up to one of them. Then on the other side, you got Tascasita and Pearland. Pearland, an overtime win to advance. And, of course, the Tascasita, a team that's perennially been there. They've been tested. Of course, they had a tough loss to Summer Creek right there at the end. But if anybody can get it done, it's these guys. This is going to be a monumental matchup as well. Region 3 is loaded in 6A D1. If you can come out of this region, you got a great possibility of making it all the way to state. 6A D2, you got Willis and Tomball Memorial, comes in at 10-1, and Willis is undefeated, one of the top offenses that you'll find around the state of Texas. This is going to be a great matchup as well. I think that 6A D2 is loaded across the state, and these two teams, if they can get out of this round, they have a great chance to make it to state. This is a big game. You got Oak Ridge and Tomball, Stafford, and George Ranch is a big game over at Tully Stadium. I think Stratford's a team that people don't talk about, but they just continue to win. And George Ranch has played a very tough schedule as well. Two teams that, in this region, if they can get hot, can come out. But, Summer Creek, on the other hand, faces off against a Clear Creek team that is a very good team that had a big win in the first round. Of course, Summer Creek Lord Avant's one of the best running backs in the state. He can get it done inside, outside, catch the ball. Very tough runner in between the tackles. He's going to be tough to deal with. Summer Creek's got some athletes on the outside and a very good defense. So Clear Creek's going to have their hands full. Heights and Hightower, a matchup that we saw last year. The Heights came up short. Hightower is that team that's usually there right at the end when it comes to getting out of these regions. I think that Coach Dixon and Heights have played phenomenal this year. They're only a couple of losses with Lamar and a couple of other schools. But listen, if anybody can get it done, this is a team that can get it done. I like what Heights is doing. Of course, Coach Dixon has had these guys playing great for the last few years. Hightower is going to be a tough out. So this is a game that you'll definitely want to check out if you can. And then you got Sea King, Clear Falls. Of course, Sea King's battle-tested within that district with Summer Creek, Tascasita, and North Shore. So tough draw for Clear Falls, but if anybody can get it done, it's these guys. They play well. They got out of the first round. This is what you have to do in order to stay in the playoffs. Just win or go home. Let's talk about a couple 5A games. Barbers Hill takes on Richland from North Texas. Listen, Barbers Hill's been a great team this year. They faced some adversity. They won a couple of games where they in overtime. They're battle tested. Now, this Richland team's got a very physical running game up front. They play well. Hadn't had a chance to see Richland this year, but I've seen them in the past, and they're always a very, very good team. Now, that one's in Central Texas over at Hutto Memorial Stadium, so it might be a long drive for some of the guys from the H. But listen, if you want to see some good football, these two teams are going to put it on. Let's talk about Region 2. Angleton, who had a big victory in round 1, takes on Cedar Park, down from the Central Texas area. Fulshire and A&M Consolidated. Listen, A&M Consolidated's got one of the best all-around players that you'll see on a Friday night. Trace Meadows, he can run it. He can throw it if they needed to. He plays linebacker, safeties in the box. He rushes the passer. He returns kicks, maybe a little receiver. Listen, Fulshire probably has this guy on their radar. I'm pretty sure he does everything for A&M Consolidated. I really like this guy. He's committed to Utah Tech, but I believe some schools are coming late to the table with a guy that I think at the next level projects to be a defensive star. But if you hadn't heard of Trace Meadows, look him up. He's a guy that's been around for a couple of years, but he does everything for A&M Consolidated. Now, I take on a tough Fulshire team over at Traylor Stadium. But I think that if anybody can do it, A&M Consolidated has the guys that can do it, along with Trace Meadows. So this is a big game.
With open enrollment for Medicare, ACA, Obamacare, and small group plans for businesses with less than 100 employees, if you're in need of health insurance solutions, look no further than HAP Insurance Agency. Yes, HAP Insurance Agency is a fantastic resource right in the heart of College Station, Texas. Whether you're in retirement, a business owner, or simply looking for the best health coverage option, HAP Insurance Agency has got you covered. You can find them in College Station at 1551 Greens Prairie Road West, Suite 101A, or give Holly Pritchard a call at 972-897-0814. That's HAP Insurance Agency. Hey, did you know volleyball is the fastest growing sport in the country? Yes, volleyball is exploding. And so is our coverage of volleyball. Starting in a couple weeks, the High School Volleyball Coaches Show will launch. It's going to be by myself and Mick Haley. Mick Haley, if you know volleyball, you know him. He's won national championships coaching UT volleyball, won national championships coaching USC volleyball. He coached Olympic volleyball. You name it, he has done it all. And what we're going to do, we're going to talk to the top high school volleyball coaches in the country, not just Texas, the entire country, and it's going to be great. The High School Volleyball Coaches Show coming to you very soon.
Now, you got Magnolia College Station, who has one of the best quarterbacks that you'll hear about in Arrington Maiden. He's a Memphis commit. He's a guy that can get it done through the air, big time arm. He's been playing phenomenal. He's a senior. Magnolia has been a team that's been hanging around and doing big things, comes in at 9-2. Very, very good game. definitely a game. It's played up at College Station, so it's a little bit of drive for some of the guys down in H. But again, Magnolia is a team that has been flying under the radar around the H. It's been playing well. Definitely a game you want to check out. And Magnolia West and Smithson Valley. Of course, Smithson Valley, if you know anything about Texas high school football, is one of those teams that perennially makes the playoffs and has really good play in the trenches. It's going to be a tough haul for Magnolia West. This is a game that's in Temple on Friday night, so it's a little bit of drive for guys around the H. But, again, when you want to see some good football, you'll drive. At least I do. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about 5AD2 real quick before we get out of here. Lake Creek takes on Austin Crockett. Randall and Belton. Listen, shout out to my guy, Coach Randall, man. He's been over there. It's the second full year in this program. This is his second year of existence, but first year that they really excelled. They had a great season last year, but came up short out of the playoffs. This is a team that I think that can make a run. Belton's a very good team coming out of Central Texas. This game's in Brenham, so I think that Randall has a chance to advance here. I think that this is a team that is very, very scary. Shout out to my guy, Coach Randall, man. We'll have to, if they advance, we'll have to get my guy on the show next week. I'm really rooting for those guys. Coach Randall's one of the guys that's been supporting the Third Coast Gridiron from the get-go. He was at May Creek for a little while. So he's been around. I'm really excited for this team, really excited to see what they do. But definitely a game that we'll keep our eye on, Randall versus Belton. Another game in that region, Huntsville and Austin LBJ. Austin LBJ is one of those teams that went to state a couple of years ago. Always very, very fast and physical. Huntsville's a team that's been flying under the radar. I know it's a little bit north of the H, but it's coming at 6-5. Could be a very interesting game on Friday night in Waco. Before we get out of here, a couple of 4A games. Iowa Colony. We've been talking about this team that's been making some noise. They're undefeated this year, come in and take on Lindale out of East Texas. That's going to be an interesting game. Campo takes on Chapel Hill, which is out of the Tyler area. That's at East Texas as well. Needville and Lumberton. That's going to be a very, very good game on Thursday night. So, that's an early game. So, you got to look at these teams, coming out of East Texas. Lumberton's from Southeast Texas, kind of close to the Beaumont area. So these teams that fly under the radar, maybe not get as much shine as they, some of the teams out of the Houston and Dallas area, but these guys play very good football. And then you got the Bay City Black Cats taking on Kilgore. So most of these these are the teams coming out of East Texas that are coming to teams close to and around the Houston area. That's some great matchups. Kilgore's been traditionally one of the better teams coming out of East Texas, and Bay City's been playing phenomenal this year, a couple of big wins in the regular season. So that's a pretty good game that you might want to check out if you're close to that area, man. But listen, we love what we do here at the Third Coast Gridiron, and this is, like I said, when I opened the show, favorite time of the year. It's like Christmas early. The playoffs, it's all about matchups. These guys are one and done if they don't win. It's everything on the line. It's what you want to see with high school football, especially in the state of Texas. Get to a game, man. I'll be at a game somewhere in the state of Texas. Absolutely, man. We appreciate everybody that's been listening to TCG on the LSG network each week, man. We'll come back next week and talk about who's going to be playing after Turkey Day in the third round of the playoffs here on the Third Coast Gridiron. We'll get at you next week.
Looking to boost your company's marketing? Look no further than Fresh Media Works. Podcasting is the best way to promote your brand and increase your customer base. You can create your own show, be a guest on other podcasts, or advertise on existing podcasts to reach a valuable audience. Don't wait. Start elevating your marketing game today with Fresh Media Works. Call now, 713-269-4620, or find us online at freshmediaworks.com/podcasting.